Billy back here with Broship of the Nerds, and I'm going to talk to you about the value of Netflix. Now, if you do not have any streaming services at all, and you don't want to pay so much for cable or satellite where it's going to be over $100 a month, I suggest if you're only going to get one app and you're an adult, get Netflix. And the reason I say this is because you can have multiple account set up to where it's like, well, it's one account, but you can have multiple users where you can restrict it to like kids only, that sort of thing. So if you're a parent, that's great. If you're on your own, that's great. If you're in a relationship, that's great. But you can have your own preferences and likes and watch lists and all that. Now, the reason I say it's the best value is because of some of the shows and movies on there. And I'm not getting paid by Netflix to say this, by the way, guys. This is just my own opinion. The reason the net value of Netflix is worth it are all the originals because as I'm a big fan of physical media, streaming also has a place in the world and it's here to stay. And my buddy Adam and I actually predicted there were going to be so many people that wanted the piece of the pie that there was going to be more streaming services than what people could afford or wanted to have at once because you can't keep up with it all. Like I myself subscribe to Netflix, Max, and Peacock. I thought about getting Disney, but four streaming services seems like a lot to try to keep up with. That's also why I don't have Paramount. So I do buy the films I really want to have in the collection that I think either are too good of a deal to pass up, and if I don't like them, I'll pass them on, or I just think they're going to be great. So I'm trying now that I have over 500 films in my collection and shows, which I will be doing a review, or rather a collection video where I go through my movie collection. And I do it differently than A to Z. I do by genre and stuff. I do TV shows separately, and then I do movies. Well, anyways, the value of Netflix. So I myself am at work a lot, and I work 12-hour shifts. So I'm not really home enough with all my interests to enjoy cable or satellite. I'm not going to get use out of it. It does not justify the price tag. And I used to subscribe to Hulu Live, but I got to where even I wasn't using that enough to justify the price tag where I could have bought like three movies that month, three to four films for the price of 1 month of Hulu Live. So that's how I kind of look at it: is I could add more movies to my permanent collection, or at least permanent enough to where. Anyways, try track. So Netflix. The reason I really like it is I have the top tier. Yes, it's a little more expensive, but I get the best video quality. And for the big budget productions, you can definitely tell. Now, my two favorite shows are right behind me, but I will tell you about what shows I think justify the price tag and movies. The Fear Street trilogy, one of my favorites. It was done in the summertime one year, and the trilogy all goes together and it does different time frames. So we go from the 1994, 1978, 1666. So each film went together, but it covered a different era. The 90s, I can obviously relate to the Fear Street. The first part, 1994, takes place in a mall and small town, and it definitely feels like a 90s era slasher film, and I really like that. And I like that there's an overarching mystery about this witch, Sarah Fear, who is cursed Shady Side. So that aspect's incredible. And then you have 1978, which is a typical summer camp slasher film. That one's fun. And then 1666, which wraps up the whole story and the mystery. So the fact that we're following different characters to explain the present, which back then was the 90s, in this film series, they're in their present, which is 94, and then going back in time to learn different people's stories that all go together. So that adds value right there. You also have the Fate the Wink saga. It was sadly canceled after two seasons, but I enjoy the hell out of that show. Musa's my favorite character in that one, and it's just a great story about Bloom, who has human parents but has is a fairy and learns about this new world after she sets her home on fire. After some bad stuff happens where she lets anger control her but doesn't realize how dangerous she is. So she goes to Althea, and that school is to teach her control. I really like that show a lot. It's definitely one of my top. First Kill, great show, canceled after one season. Definitely wasted potential. Could have been an excellent show as the seasons went on. I really liked the Romeo and Juliet with the family, where one girl is from a family of vampires and the other family is vampire hunters. I like that. That forbidden love with supernatural elements. That was really great, and it is inspired by a short story that I still need to read. Um, but yeah, I definitely enjoy that one. There's Emily in Paris, which to me is one of the most charming comedies of all time. Lily Collins plays Emily Cooper, who is sent instead of her boss to Paris. They think they're getting a person who speaks fluent French, and then Emily shows up using Translate on her phone, and it's hysterical. She does not realize that some of the things she says is trying to change the entire French culture, so that is not well taken by the her coworkers, and it's just a really fun, charming show. My favorite character in that one, besides Emily, is definitely Luke because he's so bizarre and you never know what he's going to say. That one's really fun. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I just did a review on, is a 6 episode limited series, and to me that adds value there. So a lot of these just like really fun project. The Babysitter and The Babysitter Killer Queen, two horror comedy films that I had an absolute blast with. I prefer the second one just because they knew what they were and just got more ridiculous with it. So the comedy horror there is just incredible. Um, I've watched so much stuff that it's hard for me to keep track of everything. Of course, there's some films that I just don't own personally, and I want to watch them on there before I go out and buy them. So that's another aspect. It can save you some space because there might be a film you're on the fence about, and you're like, let me watch it on Netflix and see if I enjoy it. And then if you like it, you end up buying the DVD or Blu-ray or 4K, whatever you prefer. Damsel's another good original, Millie Bobby Brown. I really enjoyed that movie. It definitely went different directions than what I expected. Because the whole time I'm looking at my best friend Dusty, I'm like, "Hey man, is this gonna happen? Is this gonna happen?" Like, just watch, just watch. And so it's one of those things where you ask rhetorical questions, you really don't want to get spoiled, but then your mind's racing with where you think it's gonna go. So that was what I loved about that. And then, of course, we have my top two projects. My Stranger Things, to me, is the best ensemble story where you have this great cast where even the minor characters don't feel minor. They still feel very important. Like Argyle, I loved his character in season 4. He's the comedic relief. And I just thought that he was a fun addition. And I know he gets some hate for no reason, but they do a good job with having even minor characters that are important to the plot. Uh, and then, of course, my all-time favorite show on Netflix is Wednesday. There is not a character who I relate to more. I think having humor, dark humor as a defense mechanism is very relatable, and her character just cracks me up, and I love that she is her own person. I think that's what my favorite thing about her is. She doesn't let other people define her, but she does have these walls up, and I like that too. So it just the way Jenna Ortega plays that character is perfect. I have no complaints about the show. I'm obsessed with it. I've watched it like 3 or 4 times, and I have a lot of merchandise, of course. But yeah, Wednesday is definitely my favorite. And so to me, if you're not home a lot, you're on the go. You can get Netflix on your laptop or your phone. Although I watch Netflix at work with a headset on my phone, but I would watch shows I've already seen because to me, it's meant to be watched on the bigger screen, your home TV set, right? Like a phone just doesn't do a lot of the shows justice. But yeah, if you can't afford more than one streaming service and you just want like one service to watch, I recommend Netflix just because there's so much on there. And there's more projects I'm looking forward to. The next season of Emily in Paris will be airing later this month. Looking forward to that. And I'm one that still goes to theaters. I still go out and buy physical movies because I love having friends over and then being able to look at my shelves and go, oh, I haven't watched this one. Let's watch this one. So just having these movies accessible to me physically is still going to always be my top choice. But being exposed to new things or watching things that are not going to make it to movies until maybe years later, if not ever, I like that. I like that I can sit down and maybe I only have 2 to 3 hours to kill. Okay, let me watch a few episodes. One other show I forgot to mention is that 90s show. I enjoyed the episodes I've watched of that 70s show, but there's something about that 90s show, probably because I'm a 90s baby. I was born in 90, and I love the story and the vibes of that 90s show. And part two, I could not put down. I watched it all in one day, like the whole season or the whole part. The whole part two I watched, and part three is coming out soon as well. So there's so much there: comedy, horror, drama, action, whatever you want. There's just such a variety there. And like I said, if you're on the fence about buying a DVD or Blu-ray or 4K of a film, you can watch it first on there and then decide what to do. And I know there's projects I forgot to mention. There's Boo Bitch, that one was a good one. There's A Good Girl's Guide, or I already said A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. There is School Spirits, which aired on Paramount first, Paramount Plus. Then it came to Netflix later, but that's another one that I really like that was shown on there. And yeah, so I would say if you don't want to spend the money for the top tier and the best graphics, I would say just go ahead and get the basic plan just for a month. Test it out. See what you think. They're pretty good. A lot of choice on there. But I love it and I do not foresee myself getting rid of Netflix anytime soon. Oh boy, I could mess up yawning today. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Netflix. Great streaming service, a lot of variety, and when I talk to people, they watch different things than me. So I'll be watching one thing, I'll have a friend they'll be watching something completely different than what I would watch, and then a third friend who's also watching something popular that I have to check out later. So I love being able to have my friends tell me, "Hey, have you watched this?" "No." "Okay, go check that out. This is about this." And it's just an easy way also to connect to people. Like I wear shirts, like this is Deadpool and Wolverine, but I'll wear like a Wednesday shirt, Stranger Things shirt. And I love when people come up to me and start talking to me about what I'm wearing because to me that's just an easy way to break the ice if they see you wearing something that they're a fan of. But that's all I've got, guys. I hope you take care.